Okay, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Peter Keller. I'm the director of the managing authority for implementing economic development programs in Hungary, which is co-financed by the ERDF and ESF programs of the EU. I will be the moderator of this session. But before I introduce our panelists, I would like you to pay your attention to the possibility of Slido. The online participants and also you here, you can use this application and you can raise your questions. And at the Q&A session, the panelists can answer your questions. And after this, I would like to introduce our distinguished panelists. The first, Mr. Enrico Biele, Program Manager of the Italian Energy Agency. Mr. Wilfried Dockx, the co-founder of the Dockx group. Ms. Sisi Vindish, Chief Operating Officer at vSmart. And Mr. Dimitrios Katsaprakakis, Professor in Mechanical Engineering Department of Hellenic Mediterranean University and the founding member of Minoan Energy Community. Before we start, I would like to shortly describe how we planned our next 55 minutes. First, I will ask our panelists to take their first contribution. So we will see and hear some very good examples in the topic of energy cooperation among the SMEs from different point of view, from the point of policymaker, from university, service providers. Then I prepared with some questions, but as I mentioned earlier, I encourage all of you and the participants in the online era to collect your questions, because I think it's much more interesting if the panelists are answering your question than my questions. So after this short introduction, I ask Enrico to keep your speech.
Good morning, and thank you for this kind of invitation and for your moderation, Peter. Thanks also from myself and from the Italian National Energy Agency for this opportunity. My little intervention will deal about a couple of forms of cooperation that SMEs can implement. One is, I'd say, quite a recent one, at least for Italy, where it took several years to complete the regulatory and legislative framework on renewable energy communities. So I'll say something about SMEs, or more in general, the state of art of renewable energy communities in Italy. And I will move then on the a different form of cooperation, which is institutional cooperation together with SMEs and their business associations. Starting from the hot topic of renewable energy communities, where we are. In 2023, in Italy, we had just, in the middle of 2023, 54 renewable energy communities, which turned into 154 at the beginning of 2024. Now we can reasonably say, I say reasonably say because it's not yet an official number, around 170 renewable energy communities. A renewable energy community, as you know, can include citizens, public administrations, and also SMEs. The figure about SMEs is quite very low. So if in terms of renewable energy communities we have interesting approaches, the number of SMEs taking part to these communities is still in its infancy. This doesn't mean that's a negative thing, because there are lots of opportunities right now to be used from now at least until the next 2 or 3 years. From the statement of our ministry in charge of also of this aspect, in Italy are expected 20,000 renewable energy communities in very few years. So moving from 170 to 15,000, it's a big leap and big step. So here are lots of definitely interesting opportunities. Multinational utilities, large companies are already on this path. They are collecting interest, they are moving towards SMEs, towards public administrations, and so on. So the market, let's say, is moving. From the point of view of the enterprises, the small enterprises, this is quite a good thing because it depends from the kind of enterprise. If it's a large, small, but not so small enterprise with interesting energy consumptions, then there is a propositive approach, a proactive approach in looking for a community. On the other side, when we talk about very small SMEs, the role of the market is essential. So a consultant, a multi-utility, and also the public sector are essential to transfer the opportunities of this message. Another interesting thing is that there is, under the National Recovery Fund, an amount which is of 320 million euros deployed just for encouraging SMEs to use renewable energy sources, so applicable also to renewable energy communities. So with these 100 millions of funds, which are just at the beginning of their start, this process, we expect quite interesting results in the near future. Moving to another form of cooperation, like institutional cooperation with SMEs, which is mostly what we do as Italian Energy Efficiency Agency also. We found this a very interesting aspect of doing our job. So from the only pure support, which is supporting programs, executing programs, supporting SMEs, we moved to an approach which is a little bit different, a leap forward, which is also talking to enterprises. And when it is not possible, because we have a number of 4 million SMEs in Italy, we try to talk as much as possible with the intermediary bodies like business associations, industry associations, consultants associations, energy auditors associations, and so on. And moreover, the agency is also taking direct agreements with this kind of associations and also in some cases enterprises. So we found particularly fruitful this discussion because it's more than support. When we have a discussion, we also learn something and we also improve our job. One example of strong cooperation with SMEs is in the sector of energy intensive SMEs. I can mention the foundry sector, ceramic sector, pharmaceutical sector, cement sector, where the agency started a very in-depth collaboration, which are not just mere collaboration on the paper, but really interesting collaborations where we weekly talk, my colleagues especially, with the business associations, and they talk to their SMEs. So we get the right message, we can improve our guidelines, and the market, including, of course, the SMEs and the consultants, get what they really need. These were just two examples of cooperation from renewable energy communities and also from the public sector. In terms of examples of how SMEs approach to renewable energy communities, we have examples in Lombardy, we have an example in Umbria, where the leading plant is a wind plant which provides energy to SMEs and to citizens as well, and several other ones. So also as an EA, we have tools for self-assessing the possible participation to an energy community, but again, we are just at the beginning because the framework completed in Italy, the regulatory framework, in the beginning of 2024. So lots of things are to be seen yet in the near future. That's some messages, okay. Peter. I hope it's enough.
Yeah, thank you very much, Enrica, to get inside to the Italian landscape. And I have a question to you that I read in your bio that so you are dealing with improving the energy efficiency policy also in Italy and in the European level. And if we are speaking about programs that aims SME to make energy cooperation with each other, I know that in Italy there is a very significant and massive SME sector. So when you are shaping energy policy for SMEs, are you targeting the whole SME sector in Italy, or you are make some specialization or targeting? How do you choose the SMEs who are participating in this cooperation?
Okay. Until now, I'd say quite unfortunately, it's usually the big sector of SMEs. When we speak about energy efficiency programs, in some cases they include SMEs and large enterprises. In some other cases they are aimed to SMEs in general. But this concept of SMEs we proved in Italy, but also together with 9 other countries in Europe, where we started the joint project, the Leap for SME project. It's not really effective. When we speak about SMEs, we think about 24 million entities in Europe. It's too much. 4 million in Italy. We cannot aim any right policy to such relevant numbers of entities. So we need surely to move to some other kind of policies, which are policies aimed to differentiation per sector at the very least. Industry sector, non-industry sector, each industry sector, energy intensive, non-energy intensive, size of the SME, family business or not family business, or if there is an external or an internal CEO. It's a lot of variables that should be definitely put together. But also this thing, not only in Italy, but also in Europe in general, it's still at the very beginning. But the National Recovery Fund, with all the money deployed and implemented, may be helpful in this if correctly addressed.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And now I would like to pass the floor to Wilfried. Please.
Thank you very much, Peter. Welcome, everybody, and thank you for the invitation. I was invited here for giving a testimony about how we in Belgium have set up as a founder and a member of the first local energy community in the Antwerp region. Next slide, please.
The big green button. Ah, okay.
I'll take this one. Yes, I got it. All right, we are an SME, family-owned SME, Dockx group. We're specialized in our activities, van and truck rental. Nowadays we call it vehicle sharing solutions, and also specialized in removals. We are founded in 1980, so already 44 years now. We're still family-owned, and we have about 200 employees, and about, in Belgium, 40 locations, plus 40 locations at the end of this year. And we are in region Antwerp, which is Brussels North region. That's where we are. In 2011, in our activity, we were also a supplier in the supply chain logistics. And the demand from that sector was that zero emission warehousing was already then mandatory or requested by the big global logistical players. So we put up a sunroof, a solar panel roof on our warehouse. And it is quite a big one, about 1 megawatt peak sun farm, we call it. And in about 2 years ago, 2022, we were approached by the Antwerp authorities, the provincial authorities of Antwerp, and we are a member of a business association in the industrial zoning where we are from, and we were approached if we were interested in participating in this first energy community, which we were very much interested, because we had a massive production. It was too much for our own use only, and we put it all on the net, on the grid. So we started up as a founding member of this first energy community. And in 2022, it took us quite some study and research, together with the local authority, together with the business association from our industrial zoning, study and research just to set up a kind of local energy business model. To set this up, we needed to put up the contracts, to find out the contracts, to organize it, to start up administration about for all the users and the supply and the deliver, do the monitoring of the consuming of the energy, how we're going to do the invoicing, and also creating a user platform so everyone of the member can really see his consumption or his participation in it. As I understood, our energy community is now being picked up by the WeShare EU funding project, and WeShare, as what I know about this, they have a little exhibition booth here outside. They are really supporting to do developing of these energy communities between SMEs, for SMEs. Our energy community is still little not so full of members. We are 5 now, 5 members of it. We have a request now from Coca-Cola, which is a very big, very big user. They need 2 giga per month, which is massive. So if they come in, our energy community will be full, I guess. But we are in an industry cluster in the zoning where we are, and we have big companies watching us. You've seen it, like Atlas Copco, Coca-Cola, and we, as a part of from the vicinity in the Antwerp. Port of Antwerp, Bruges region. We are very much being followed by the Antwerp authorities also, because Antwerp is also looking at our community, how they can set it up in the Port of Antwerp itself also, between companies there. And we, Dockx, are just one of the SMEs in this cluster. All right. It is not widely known. That's one of the. It's new. We were triggered to go in this community because we had this power. We had this energy. We could not all use it ourselves, so we could not sell it to anyone. We just had to put it on the net, on the grid. And there's a kind of a significant unbalance between buying energy and selling energy. So you get about 10–15% of what you pay for a megawatt. You can only recover 15% if you try to sell one, and you have to pass the gatekeepers of the grid, and they are making the rules and the rates. So with this energy community that we now have, it is an all other ball game, because we are profiting from the offering and demand market. So we can sell our energy now very much higher in rating, and still be much cheaper than what the energy can cost if you take it from the net. We've all seen the volatile market about 2 years ago, what can happen with electricity, with energy. So this local energy community really is a solution for getting more and more independent on energy as a user. And as a producer, you can come into the market now. For the bigger companies, they are a little bit reluctant to go in this community of SMEs, because we have different standards or demands. For the big community, for the big companies, it's very, very much mandatory to comply with GDPR. And when we are giving this user platform, they really need to be sure that all the data that is on the platform is restricted and is really secured and not for everybody viewable, as I would say it. Of course, we still are confronted with the gatekeepers of the net, of the grid, because we still need to put our energy on the net, and that's not for free. Everybody understands that, because it's quite an infrastructure you use. We pay for the infrastructure gladly, happily, but you cannot negotiate about that. And also the energy suppliers who are also using the net, they all want their piece of the cake. So when they buy our energy now, now we can sell it directly into our own community. But before that, we only could sell it to the energy suppliers in the Belgian market, and it was not on us to say the price. So they say, okay, we give you 10%, 15%, and if you're not happy with that, just leave it that way. We don't need it. Also one of the challenges is, and one of the uncertainties today is the capacity of the distribution net. We don't know if with the exponential growth of all these sun panel roofs and windmills and renewable energy productions from SMEs and from greater companies, we don't know if the grid can take all this energy, and I think there is a lot more investment needed in this electricity grid, energy grid, before these energy communities can really play a role in this in the global market or in the industrial market as it is. Yep. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your very impressive story, Wilfried. And I have just only one question, that you mentioned that the initial activity of Dockx Group is about one-end truck rental and removals and vehicle sharing. What was the main driving force that pushed you into the direction of dealing with the energy community?
Well, as I told you already, it was, we were also a logistical player, and in order to become in this logistical supply chain, the demand was to have a zero emission or trying to set up a zero emission warehousing facility for doing logistical storage and distribution. And it was from the market demand out that we set up this green building. But then we have this energy now, which of course was for us own use, but we have too much. Sometimes you don't have any energy at night, and but in the weekends you have energy over. So you have to do something with that energy. We put it on the grid, and it goes to all the users, even citizens, which is great. But you're delivered on these gatekeepers, as I say it. You cannot discuss, you cannot negotiate. Our meaning for going into the energy market was from our logistical activity out, because it was demanded by our clients. But then we had it, and so we were approached for being a member and founder in this energy community, which is great because now we can sell it, and when Coca-Cola comes in, we are one of the deliveries, local energy delivery for a big industry. So,
okay, thank you very much. Now we are staying in Belgium.
The other one, I think.
Right, okay.
Yeah, Sisi, the floor is yours.
Yeah.
Yes, I actually work for a small company and at a small company. So we are a tech IT company working for energy sharing. What I like to point out is, because also my background is also in crowdfunding, so I really appreciate cooperatives and crowdfunding, which give you a financial participation. But I think energy community is the next step. It's addressing more. It's addressing operational participation, grid imbalance, energy poverty, decentralization. So it's really stepping it up, and we work for cooperatives, we work for companies, we work for citizen industry, municipalities. We have about more than 60 projects experience, active energy communities like Tour and Taxi in Bruxelles, but also a lot of feasibility studies, a lot of technical studies, so it's really an engineering. And so I first want to outline what can tech do at the moment. So I give you an example. We had an energy community, and online you can find participants, and I think within 3 days they found 20 participants online, all contracts were signed, EAN codes automated, everything was automated in the platform operational. If you do that by hand, you will not do it. If you do it by hand, you pick 5 bigs, and thanks to technology we can pick 200. Another example is every invoicing, every share is down to 15 minutes on a platform. So every invoice is automatically sent. This sounds trivial, it's very important. And you have an invoice is not just the shared energy, but the grid fee and all the other, which is in Belgium different in every region, for example. So there's a lot of room for automatizations. And existing technology is out there. Just an example, we just finished in AI a bigger research project where now you have a pop-up and you say, listen, it's going to, sun is shining, put on your dishwasher. You know, and it's individualized, it's machine learning. So thanks to the data, you start optimizing. And to give you a fun anecdote, you know, a couple of years ago they said, oh, the renewable in Germany, the grid will be completely broken. This was all the prediction. But actually, they didn't account for change in behavior, and actually it isn't broken because people change. And it's very interesting for me also the role of data, because right now the data is still like the energy markets, centralized top-down, but we're going to a decentralized market. And I really believe energy communities will feed you information, will feed you the grid, and also inform the decision makers more and more. And it will be different, you know. It will be basically what we do. We have a very good analysis of one energy communities, and we can build up the data set. So my last, just to keep it very, very brief, and I want to be very clear because I've already picked up on a lot of things what you said. I think what the SMEs particularly now need is a DSO connection. I hope that's, I mean, we're talking about the, you know, the TSO, but the DSO is key for energy communities. And the dialogue is key. And actually, Italy is one of the best information sources and actually acknowledgement. I mean, if I look at the regulation and at the Energy Authority, you have all the data of the DSO connections. Here we have, just to be clear, we talk with SMEs and industrials. Sometimes you need 2 years just to get the DSO on board, to get it going. This is usually hand in hand with energy regulator, regional. Another thing is very clear and simple regulation. I'm not talking about deregulation, talking about clear regulation, because this uncertainty is such a high risk. At the moment, yesterday I had 3 calls, on Friday I have another meeting with SMEs, with industries. We are waiting 9 months just to get an answer from the energy regulator and DSO. And our question is predefined. So we're very specific, yes or no. They don't know. They still don't know. So we have an EU regulation which is translated nationally, translated regionally. The clearer you are, the better. And also something you picked up on, incumbent energy suppliers. So I'll give you an example by Flanders. Now, just to get, for energy communities, you need data every 15 minutes on your energy consumption, which is usually provided by the DSO. Energy suppliers only in Flanders impose €150 just to provide you the data, which means all citizen energy communities are unprofitable. This is just in Flanders, not in Brussels, not in Wallonia. Why? It's basically deterring competition. Another example of suppliers, and I'm actually coming from NG as a trader, so I know the gatekeeper you mentioned. Another thing is you have existing energy contracts, and the balancing part, the last part, is the hardest for any energy supplier. Energy communities are now optimizing that layer. Basically, you share, and whatever is left to supply to the grid or purchase for the grid is something that is pretty hard to monetize. Some of them, when you say, I add energy sharing to my contract, particularly industrial SMEs, they get a new energy contract for the remaining, which is so expensive, they don't even start. So this is a very, very big problem, actually. So I think this is what SMEs now need, particularly from policy. Clear regulation, DSO data, and stakeholder information, exactly what you were saying, like really look at the groups, the clusters, and educate. I think what SMEs also, what do they already do best? So where do we not need more people coming in? And I think that's another message from me. Tech, engineering, and finance experts are there. Don't substitute what's going well, you know? I'll give you an example. We partner up with Belfius Bank now for municipality finance. They have experts in finance and loans. They have connections. They have a retail network. Let's work together. Don't reinvent the wheel. I see a lot of also government and NGOs coming in, doing what's already done pretty well for a lot of money. Another example is innovation tested with paying customer. We're not at this is not fundamental research. This is rolling out fast to address climate change. To give you another example, platforms AI, it exists. Pay a license of €100 instead of reinventing something for €100,000. I still see a lot of research projects only with researchers who want to spend 5 years defining user roles. My first question is, who's your user? Who are you testing your user? I don't know. It's hypothetical. It doesn't need to be hypothetical. If it's already being tested in the markets with hundreds of users, go to those. Go to those who have contacts and dare to fail. Because it's, go to them and say, how much are you willing to pay? Nothing. If it's not for free, I'm not going to pay. It's not a product. It's a research. It's a publication, but it's not a product. And thirdly, actually, tech is rolling a lot faster. Build on what's there, really. Look at all the layers there. I give you an example. Our tech stack is predominantly building on existing tech stack. We use as much no-code as we can. And we're really very clear. Every time we do any custom Python code, any custom product, we need to be very clear why. Because often as a researcher, as an engineer, it's easier to own something and reinvent something. Use what's existing out there, because if something's already growing fast, build on it. Because right now what you need to apply. And for example, the first question we ask to any client, any SME particularly, what is your annual energy bill? How much can you max save with energy sharing? And how much time do you have? If you can save max 5K per year, you cannot waste 20 days of any SME's time. They don't have the scope. They can do 2 to 3 projects max. So be aware of that. Be efficient. That's kind of my message.
Thank you very much, Sissi, for very concrete examples and then reflecting to each other. Before we move to Dimitrios, I have just one question to you. When I checked your webpage, I saw that during your project you are involving several type of players in your project, municipalities, SMEs, households. Is there any difference how to handle these very different players? It is more easy with households, more easy with SMEs. So what are your feeling about to handling different kinds?
Complete
of players?
difference, yeah. I think what's in for them, industrials, it's about money saving mainly. Sometimes it's commercial.
Yeah.
So if you have, for example, if you are a solar roof installer, or if you're a real estate business, you want to get new tenants, you want to build. So it's part of your sales channel is ESG reporting plus lower cost. Municipalities are great, but also slow, which is always a challenge for an SME. And citizen is also good, but it's also very, very small, so it becomes also challenging. Yeah. So everyone is very different, yeah. I really like about the energy community that it really brings the players together, so it's quite nice, so even the smaller players. But you need to be highly efficient to address SMEs and citizen. I think you can only do it by hyper efficiency, because otherwise, if you do, like I said before, for citizen, if you do 100 contracts by hand and do all those invoicing by hand, you already lose money the first day.
Yeah.
So it's, we need to embrace technology here.
Okay, thank you very much. And last but not least, we are moving to Greece. Dimitrios, please.
Thank you very much, Peter. So I will try to present you the next minutes our story, a summary actually of our story in Crete, the story of Minoan Energy Community, which is a small community. It used to be a small community established in 2019 in a small town in Crete entitled Arkalahori. Now we have become the largest energy community in Greece with 1,300 members, among which 13 municipalities and the regional authority of Crete and some commercial associations and so on. We have a fundamental objective, which is to undertake the essential and leading role regarding the way and the pylons according to which energy transition is going to be implemented in our island. Our essential scope is to try to claim to maximize the final social and economic benefits for the local citizens in Crete. Our power is our people, our members. We have the luck and the bless to be supported by more than 30 experts, which can be maybe academic members or engineers or economists, or in any case, experts from several fields, which so far have delivered a great amount of voluntary work. And based on this work, all the projects that have so far achieved to implement have been implemented. So far, we have constructed 3 photovoltaic plants. In this slide, you see the first 2 of them. In total, 2.4 megawatts of installed photovoltaic power. These plants operate under the so-called net metering mode, which means that the produced electricity is used to compensate the annual electricity production from the participating members in these plants on an annual basis. A 4th one is currently under construction, and we have also bought a license for the 5th one, which will be the last one, most probably, because this operation mode of net metering has been removed as an option from the Greek legislation, so we don't have the ability to implement more plants under this specific operation framework. Actually, that was the only way, the only type of project that so far we were enabled and allowed according to legislation to implement in Crete. For all this action, and particularly for our choice, our willingness to use these plants to support low-income and earthquake victim families. We had a strong earthquake in our hometown in 2021, and we decided to provide electricity so far for 33 households free of charge, completely free of charge. They haven't paid anything, and we're going to provide electricity for 50 more in our 4th plant. So for all these activities, we were awarded by the European Commission in the frame of the European Union Sustainable Energy Week 2022 in Brussels with the Local Energy Action Category Award. This was a great distinction for us, which gave us faith and strength to continue. As I mentioned before, we have 13 municipalities as members of the community and the regional authority of Crete. 11 of them are in Crete, and we have 2 more, the last ones that you see in this list, the islands of Leros and Karpathos from the Dodecanese complex, 2 more outside Crete. It's a great honor and responsibility for us to have these municipalities. We have so far provided a great amount of support, mainly technical consulting support, and most of this support, most of these technical studies that have been provided for these municipalities were provided, most of them free of charge. They were funded by our European Commission project. As an indicative example, I present you this video with the results of the energy performance upgrade studies of 2 essential sports facilities in our hometown. This is the indoor sports hall. We change all the passive elements. We install these solar tubes on the roof, which will maximize the daylight, the natural light during the daytime, and also a PV on the roof. And this is the swimming sports center, swimming pool sports center. Currently, it is an outdoor one. We have designed this architectural enclosure of bioclimatic design, and with this proposed active and passive measures, both facilities will be upgraded at net zero facilities. Apart from the passive measures, we also propose solar thermal collectors for hot water production, photovoltaics on roofs for electricity production, heat pumps for indoor space heating and hot water production also, etc. So much more studies for municipal buildings, municipal halls, schools have been so far implemented. We have so far participated in 5 European projects. The most important and largest one is the Crete Renewable Energy Valley project. It is a project that started 1 year ago with a budget of 25 million euros and 31 partners. In this project, the first district heating and cooling networks will be installed in Crete in 4 renewable energy valleys. You see them on the map in this slide. And we will also install the first small wind turbines, the first smart grid, according to which the first some essential demand-side management strategies will be implemented, decentralized storage, for example, management of consumption, etc. All these actions, a very ambitious and challenging project. We have already started working on them. We would hope that in the next 2 or 3 years, we will have the first projects, the first plans implemented. Now, we have, apart from this project, we have already designed a wind park. Unfortunately, since 2003, we haven't received any new license for wind park in Crete, apart from 2 large-size licenses of 1 gigawatt each, which were supplied for 2 large-size investors. So we're waiting from the regulator to reallocate, actually from the Ministry of Energy, to reallocate this available energy space and geographical space in Crete, because these large-size licenses, and if we, together with 3 more applications, in total 5 gigawatt of wind parks applied and 2 of them licensed in Crete, have occupied almost all the available geographical space in the island. So there is almost nothing left regarding either or both geographical and energy space. We think that these licenses, the existence of this license has been prolonged, violating essential rules regarding the fair play and the free market rules, against the common benefit of the Greek citizens, so against the essential rules of the Greek constitution. In this way, we have already started an essential work, an essential effort against these licenses. We have officially claimed from the Greek ministry to recall them and to reject the applications that remain under the evaluation process for more than 10 years. So we have found, however, regardless of these unfavorable conditions, a site free of restrictions for the installation of the first wind park, and if these claims will be satisfied, we are going to implement our first wind park. And last, for this presentation, we have also designed a large-size pumped storage system in the island of Crete of 22 million cubic meters capacity of the lower reservoir, which will be able to guarantee 70 megawatt of daily power production from the hydro turbines. That's all for me. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dimitrios. And I have just a short question to you as well, because there's always a challenge how to transfer the scientific knowledge to the practical side, and we are very lucky because you are working at a university, which is a scientific part, and you are a practitioner as a founder of your community. Do you have some examples how this scientific knowledge went to the practice?
It is a great opportunity for us, the academics, because you can understand we were accustomed all these years before the foundation of our community to work on papers, and as Sisi very correctly said before, everything which does not implement it, does not lead to the creation of product remains in paper either as a study or as a publication. So it is only research or technical studies. Now with this community, we have the chance to implement our work, and this is the greatest satisfaction that an engineer or a scientist can receive from his or her work, to see his or her projects to become reality, to become to be implemented in practice. And what is even more important is that these projects are implemented in favor of us, of our people, of our island, of our community, instead of one or two or three maybe large-size investors.
Yeah.
This is very important.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Before we move forward to the question and answers, I'm just only one question to each of you. As far as the title of our panel is No Net Zero Without SMEs, and as you mentioned in Italy, that the number of energy community are increasing very very fast, but until now it's not a general situation for the SMEs that taking part in this community. What do you think? What are the key obstacles to including SMEs in energy sharing initiatives?
The first one is, as mentioned, the having a complete and quite simple and accessible legislative and regulatory framework. As Sisi mentioned, there are interesting opportunities in Italy from the regulatory sector in terms of the electricity connections, DSO, regulatory authority, and so on. That's only a piece of the full legislative framework, and basically that's the first thing. Now that everything is complete, together with the positive aspects mentioned also by Sisi, now everything can definitely start. That's one thing. The second thing is the access to information, correct access to information. This is not an issue for, again, energy-intensive SMEs or structured SMEs where they have at least one person dedicated to understanding energy and maybe another one about environmental issues, when it's not the same person. But the issue may be for very small SMEs because their access to information is not so wide, and of course they have to do their business. Energy communities, it's not their business. So that's why I also mentioned that the correct market deployment is very essential. Multinationals or consultants, local consultants, general business associations. There are business associations which are taking agreements with multinationals or grid operators and so on in order to deploy the correct message to the SMEs associated to their network. Maybe the third thing, very quick, is the correct assessment of the benefits of taking part to an energy community, because an SME, a very small SME can get a proposal, but they don't have the strength to assess if this proposal in a large, huge contract, maybe standard contract, is feasible or not feasible for them. For very small SMEs in rural areas, again, the key role can be made by public authorities informing them and by a correct market which can deploy interesting solutions with surveillance from public authorities on how the market operators are acting.
Thank you very much. Wilfried?
Well, the biggest obstacle for us SMEs is, of course, the administrative burden that each time you encounter with, of course, the authority and the officials, but also for everything you need a permit, and it's becoming more and more even impossible nowadays to act efficiently. I mean, sometimes for a project, it takes 3 years to get ready on an administrative and permit level, which is for an SME undoable.
Exactly.
Okay, thank you very much. Sisi?
I mean, it's exactly your point, I'd say. And yeah, it's time and money for SMEs. And if the time is so long, you can't do it.
Yes, because you want to commit to an energy community. You want to pick up your social responsibility. You want. I saw in the energy community of Dimitrios, I saw they helped the 50 poor families.
It's amazing, huh?
Giving free energy.
Yeah.
Well, every SME would like to give free energy to within their own region to those who need it.
I think two solutions I've seen is you can also see energy sharing tools as a energy monitoring. So not just efficiency assessment, but an ongoing monitoring tool.
It comes down to monitoring.
It comes down to monitoring to SMEs and industrials. Yeah. And this is if it's mandatory, if it's given you for very low cost and implemented so it's not just safe on energy via energy efficiency, it gives you strategic investments, strategic savings, and direct access. And it's not only behind the meter. So behind the meters, you detach a sensor to each device. It's quite cumbersome for SMEs and industrials. We see that the energy sharing already gives you direct insights. And all you do is you connect to Fluvius, to the DSO, and you got it. And you know, like instead of installing another solar roof, I do a EV charging.
And it is available.
It's available. Yes. It's there. The data is there. So whenever it works best is when the data is there. Portugal, Italy, I'm really excited about Italy, you know. And Belgium is getting there too. I think that is great. Don't frame it as something long, but fast. You can do it, energy sharing, energy delen met yourself. 2 months, you have an energy monitoring tool. You know what you do. This is a value for SMEs, and it doesn't take any time. Another thing I've seen, I just give ideas what worked. So another thing I've seen in Portugal, which I really loved, was that the region actually knows there's scope 3 emissions, all this mandatory stuff for SMEs. For SMEs, it's a lot of burden. What they do is they monitor those for the region and also for every SME. They give you the platform, the monitoring for free, with direct guidance how to save, how to do, including energy sharing. So no work for the SMEs. All they do is to tap onto an existing platform of that region, know exactly what to do, and immediately get an ESG reporting, a benefit, and other things. That works as well. So these are 2 ideas.
Thanks. Dimitrios, can you add something to this topic?
Yes. If the question refers to the obstacles, if I have understood correctly, yes. As you have understood from my presentation, our main obstacle is that we do not have the anticipated, let's say, support from the legal framework. This is what we need. 2 weeks ago, we were in our 3rd plenary meeting of this Crete Valley project in Aachen, in Germany. And there I was informed by a member of the Samsø Energy Academy that there in the island of Samsø in Denmark, they implemented within a period of 10 years, from 1997 to 2007, a total portfolio of projects of about 80 million euro budget, mainly wind parks onshore and offshore and district heating systems, and a small portion of photovoltaics. So far, our community, this October, we had our 5th birthday. And with these 5 photovoltaics, we will have in total implemented a total budget of 5 million euros. So we need, in the next 5 years, to implement 75 million euros project in order to be at the same level with the SME community. In order to do that, we need a truly favorable and supportive framework from the real energy communities in Greece. This is what we have requested, and we continue to request for several years now, since our foundation.
Okay, thank you very much. Since we started a bit late, I asked the organizers to give us 5 more minutes. Do we have any questions on the Slido? No. Then please.
I'm going to assume it's on. Now it's
better.
Thank you very much to all the panelists for a really, really thought-provoking discussion. So I had a question about your latest remarks about regulatory frameworks. What do you think are the key regulatory measures that would really make a difference to you now? So starting from,
Thank you very much. We have already submitted our request in the Greek Ministry of Energy and Environment. So first of all, we have requested to make a distinction between the real energy communities. We have proposed the introduction of the concept of energy communities of broad basis, which are these energy communities that have a large amount of members and also municipal members and have a clear developmental and social orientation. And for these energy communities, we need priority regarding licensing, economic funding incentives or mechanism, and also, especially for Crete and for the Greek islands, we have requested all these large-size applications and licenses to be totally removed and recalled from the geographical, for the map. There is a GIS map on the regulator's side in Greece, which depicts all these licenses. If you go in this side, you will see that all the Greek islands are full, completely full of licenses or applications, or applications. So we don't have space, either geographical or energy space, to implement new projects. We have requested officially, not only the community, but also with the support of the local chambers in Crete and with the regional authority of Crete, that 70% of the available energy space in Crete and in Greek islands should be dedicated, captured for the local municipalities, local authorities, and energy communities, and small and very, very small companies. Mm-hmm. This is our request. Last March, we had a first info days co-organized by 5 organizations, which chambers, the regional authority, Minoan energy community. This January, we are going to have the second one, and we're going to continue our fight until we reach to our final scope, our objective, which is the satisfaction of our requests.
Thank you very much.
Please.
Sorry, this is on? Yeah. So Ilko Kruijsgaard, DNV. Question for the gentleman from Dockx. So you have your Net Zero warehouse in the Antwerp region, I understand. Suppose, I don't know whether this is hypothetical, suppose you would start up another warehouse somewhere else, because I understand you have 40 locations. What would you do differently, or would you do it again, the same way?
Interesting.
Thank you.
We would do it the same, we would do it again, absolutely. Differently, it's not on us to do to change the modality of it. I mean, we do an investment. You can decide to do it, and you just put it on the roof. The only thing that is hard for us is in the days that we put our solar panels, we had a very friendly political climate was created to invest in solar panel. And that is something that we regret very much, that we have a political insecurity. I mean, sometimes when new ministers come on board, they to be popular or to be answering to the demands of public opinion. In Belgium, they changed, and they, with retro effect, they just cancelled it. We could be funded for several years to have financial support. And solar panels were much more expensive 15 years ago. Of course, you don't need no financial support anymore, but the promises then made are now suddenly it's a contract breach. So it is not yet, but it is the tendency that is going to be stopped. It still runs for 7 years, considering but it's probably going to stop in 2-3 years, definitely, which is a breach in our agreement. But that is something that we can do different. We need more stability. Political stability. We are a very political stable country, of course, but the ideology and the popularity of some politicians are sometimes questionable. Yeah. For industry, for SMEs, not for citizens, it's more not so, but for SMEs as a business, we are a little bit the ball that goes from left to right and from right to left sometimes.
Thank you very much. I received the signal that I have to bring the discussion to the close. And I would like to pay your attention and encourage you to contact our panelists in the coffee break, because there will be a coffee break in the next 25 minutes. And I also pay your attention that there will be a meet the export session upstairs. But first of all, I have to say that I'm not an energy expert, but I learned a lot from your very, very concrete examples. So Enrico, Wilfried, Sissi, and Dimitrios, thank you very much for your very practical contribution, and thank you very much for your questions and attention. Thanks.